I'm going to say it. I actually think looksmaxxing might be a good thing for society. If you are on TikTok, you've probably heard the term looksmaxxing, which is the idea of optimizing your appearance to maximize how attractive you are, no matter what it takes. We're going to be dogging on straight men. The most popular looksmaxxer is a 20-year-old from Florida, Clavicular. He went on an episode of 60 Minutes Australia. The response to this interview actually kind of pissed me off a little bit.
I don't know a lot about crystal meth, but
the global cosmetic industry generates over $500 billion every single year. You are fundamentally treated differently if you are attractive. And historically, women have been looksmaxxing since way before the term was invented.
It's like mercury maxing.
Society has never been able to advance past prioritizing physical appearance. There's a systemic problem that's been happening since the dawn of time. You should do more hobbies.
Everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Beauty by the Beaker. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Sadie.
And we have another little guest. He's under my chair, and you might see him pop out. There he is.
Welcome, Owen, to the stage.
Owen Spalding is currently being a perfect little angel.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Oh, he's already.
Yeah, he just woke up, so he's about to rain terror.
He's like, oh, wait. Did we start recording? Did you start recording without me?
Perfect. It's time to bark.
Anyway, while he decides what he's going to do, just keep it modest on the podcast, please. We're videoing. We're back. It's another week.
Yay. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is the podcast where science gets a hot new makeover, and it's called Beauty by the Beaker.
Yes.
Did I say that already?
No.
Well, welcome back.
Welcome back. Or if you're new here, we're cosmetic chemists, and we just love to talk about the hot goss when it comes to science.
We surely do. We have a very exciting episode planned today.
We do.
Maybe we are excite maxing.
We're excite maxing. We're episode maxing.
Owen Spalding's about to chaos max.
This episode is going to mog all of our other episodes. And if you don't know what any of those words mean, welcome to the show.
Welcome. This is the pod for you.
Today, we want to talk about the internet's newest phenomenon called looksmaxxing. This is literally everywhere. Hold on. Wait. Let me notes max. If you are on TikTok, especially, you've probably heard the term looksmaxxing, which is the idea of optimizing your appearance to maximize how attractive you are, no matter what it takes. It's a term that's been coined by young straight men, but interestingly enough, it's just a new name to a phenomenon that women have been doing since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
In today's episode, we're going to explore what looksmaxxing is, how it became popular, why straight men beautifying their appearance is such a big deal in a world that prioritizes attractiveness, and why it's just a symptom of a larger problem. And I'm going to say it right off the top. I actually think looksmaxxing might be a good thing for society. We're gonna get into
more men need hammers to the jaw.
Yeah. We need to be bone smashing way more often. Okay, so first, let's talk about what looksmaxxing is.
Men need more self-confidence issues.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, let's get into it.
So looksmaxxing is an online self-improvement practice focused on the process of maximizing one's physical attractiveness. Looks and then maxing comes from maximizing. Okay. And there's 2 X's in there. So write that down.
Looksmaxxing is a very straight term, by the way.
The more research I did for this episode, the more I was like, this is a straight phenomenon.
This is very straight.
Yeah. So the term looksmaxxing originated in the 2010s, actually, on like obscure incel message boards.
Really?
And up until the 2020s, it was quite niche, but it's recently been popularized by straight male content creators. I also do want to say this little disclaimer off the top. We're going to be dogging on straight men in this episode. We love straight men, okay? We're married to straight men. But it's important to make that distinction for what we're going to talk about later. So, yeah. Anyway, I had to make that clear. I get in trouble for talking too much smack about straight men. And so, listen, it has to do with this topic, okay?
Yeah.
It's relevant.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Looksmaxxing has been commonly associated with what's called black pill ideology, which is the idea that women prioritize physical attractiveness and qualities like kindness and personality are ignored or can even cause you to be rejected. So basically, it's like, well, women only care about if you're attractive. They don't care about your personality. So why would you do any work on that? And instead, why don't you just maximize the way that you look?
Yeah. Like the nice guys finish last idea.
Exactly. Yes. Which I didn't know was called black pill ideology. I'm a little scared to look more into that, but
Yeah, I'm gonna not.
that might give me nightmares.
Yeah.
So sometimes looksmaxxing is as simple as using skincare or going to the gym, which is known as soft maxing. But it can also involve more extreme methods, which are called hard maxing, which is
Okay.
a crazy term.
All right.
But that involves things like injecting peptides or illegal drugs, getting plastic surgery, or bone smashing, which Nat alluded to earlier. It's the idea that if you cause like micro breaks to your bones, they will grow back stronger. So if you look up looksmaxxing,
Are they DIY bone smashing?
yes. With it, they'll buy a hammer. Or I saw one guy who was like kind of like punching his jaw, but it looked so soft. And I was like, do you really think you're doing enough to break your bone so it grows back stronger? Like,
Yeah.
just use a hammer.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, so some methods are just like regular self-improvement and then other ones are really extreme. The most popular looksmaxxer is a 20-year-old from Florida named Braden Peters. He's more commonly known as Clavicular. And he rose to prominence in 2025. It was quite recent, actually.
Yeah.
Primarily through live streaming for hours on end and posting on TikTok.
Okay.
And his version of looksmaxxing is quite extreme. He practices bone smashing on his face to try and like make his jawline more pronounced. He also injects illegal steroids and he sometimes uses crystal meth to suppress his appetite. So
You know?
whatever you gotta do, I guess.
Yeah. Look, not for me. I don't know a lot about crystal meth, but
I've heard it's not good for you.
I've heard it's not good for you either. I feel like I don't know. I have to imagine it wouldn't make the bone smashing process more enjoyable.
Well, it could make it less if you don't feel anything.
Well, do you feel things?
I don't know.
That's what I don't know either.
The thing about this whole, like, okay, I listened to a podcast episode. This sort of inspired this episode. It's the A Bit Fruity podcast. They did a whole episode about Clavicular, which I highly recommend if you're interested in learning more about like him specifically and his kind of effect on the looksmaxxing community.
Yeah.
But I think just like he like overdosed at one point on a live stream.
Yeah, I do know about that.
Yeah. And his biggest concern was that the life support mask cut his face. And he said it like,
yeah.
he said it descended him because they have this idea of like ascension is getting better and then descension is anything that makes you less ugly. And so he like tweeted
Makes you
about
more ugly?
Sorry, yeah, makes you more ugly. So he tweeted about how the worst part of his overdose was that the life support mask descended him because it cut his face up, which is really sad.
That is sad.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Maybe he should do some therapy maxing.
I think therapy maxing would honestly be great. Yeah. I think we could all therapy max.
Yeah.
I could certainly use it. So he went on 60 Minutes Australia, and the response to this interview actually kind of pissed me off a little bit. We'll get into it. So the interview was talked about quite a bit online, and there were a lot of videos about how Clavicular was mogged by the interviewer, which means like the interviewer was more attractive than him.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are ignoring the bigger themes that were expressed in the interview. And it featured Clavicular and a couple of other looksmaxxers and a journalist who was determined to stay very surface level and not address any of the actual reasoning behind looksmaxxing. So all of the men being interviewed said the reason they looksmax is to, 1, become more confident, and 2, basically increase their social currency. They believe that being attractive is the only way to actually rise in society. Like, you can be rich and smart and have a good personality, but you are fundamentally treated differently if you are attractive.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're right. Like, at one point, Clavicular says to the interviewer, "You're living in a fantasy land telling people their looks don't matter." And the interviewer responds, "Surely, Clav, it's a happier world when people don't sit there and obsess to the point of hitting themselves in the face with a blunt object. Character, personality, maturity, and intelligence are far more important than appearance." And that should be true. Like, that should be the case, but we cannot ignore the fact that it isn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know how perfectly this episode was going to segue into the K-beauty episode, but K-beauty has been looksmaxxing for a long time. And like, physical appearance is a qualification of success there, like, openly. You know, so I think it is a little bit of a fantasy here that things like pretty privilege don't exist when they definitely do.
Yes.
But yeah.
Clavicular responded to the interviewer by saying, "You're correct, but those things are perceived completely differently based on your looks." And it's true. If you are rich, you're treated differently than if you're rich and hot.
Yeah.
Like, it just is the way that it is. And one thing in this interview that really was like, oh my God. At one point in the interview, one of the other young men applies mascara and the interviewer asks why. And then he says, "Because it makes me feel more confident." And the interviewer responds and says, "Do you ever get funny looks? That's not how men typically go about looking more attractive." I feel like I'm getting hit in the face with a hammer with that because it's like wearing mascara is bare minimum for women.
Yeah. Like, I do think that there should be more evening of the playing field. Like, I think, kind of to your point earlier, women have been dealing with this for so long.
Yes.
And things like plastic surgery, fillers, cosmetic surgery are almost expected for women. And being older and having not gotten fillers is like a thing, you know? Like, it's noteworthy as a woman.
Yes.
Not as a man.
No, not at all. But even like something as simple as applying mascara is looked at as like, why would you as a straight man do that?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Why would that make you more attractive?
Well, it makes lashes darker and longer. It's beautiful.
They have beautiful lashes.
No, I've always been a big proponent of like, I don't think that the answer necessarily is to try to convince women that they need to do less. It is just like, I think by spreading it out to more people, it does take a little bit of the pressure off women only.
Right.
Like, if men are also expected to wear mascara when they go out, then like it's not as big of a deal if women's mascara is clumpy, you know?
Yeah.
Because men's mascara is obviously going to look a lot worse for a long time.
Worse.
You know, like,
No, it's
I don't
true.
know. Like, I don't know how to really. Whatever.
Well, yeah, we'll have a whole
discuss.
discussion about it at the end. But to your point about plastic surgery, in the interview, there was also a plastic surgeon who talked about how dangerous looksmaxxing is and how plastic surgery in young people is increasing. But the cosmetic industry directly profits off of the anxieties and insecurities of young people. So for a plastic surgeon to come on and be like, it's so dangerous that these young men are getting plastic surgery. Like, young women get plastic surgery constantly. Like you said, it's almost expected. When you Google the term looksmaxxing, most of the articles that show up are discussing how dangerous the trend is. There was an excerpt from one of the articles that I read, and I'll just try to read it really quick, but it says, "There's an increased interest in looksmaxxing, an online trend in which men go to obsessive extreme lengths to create what they see as the perfect appearance. Although we have sympathy with the growing pressure on young men to achieve certain aesthetic goals, looksmaxxing is a highly extreme and potentially unsafe approach, which we strongly advise against." And then it says, "Looksmaxxing is most often associated with a highly defined jawline, defined upper cheekbones with a hollowed appearance to the lower cheeks, neutral to positive canthal tilt," which is where like your outer eyes are lifted basically, like the outer eyes higher than the inner corner, and then pursed and full looking lips. All of which are standard beauty standards for women. Yes. You're missing out if you're not watching the episode. Can you do that for the thumbnail?
Yeah.
But like the buccal fat removal trend, lip filler, like the fox eye lift, or even just like doing makeup like with a wing to kind of extend your eye, like which I can't believe like anyone would do that.
Oh my gosh, it's really crazy.
But what I'm saying is like,
it's not like I put white liner under my eyes to make them look bigger or anything either.
I would never do something so dangerous and obsessive. But I
didn't put a pencil directly in my cornea.
Literally stabbed myself with a pencil this morning. I think it just frustrates me because all of these are so common when it comes to women's beauty standards.
Yeah.
But when straight men do it, it's called an extreme variation that involves comparing yourself to other men.
How dare they? Well, I was going to mention, like, you talked about just how common this is. We talked about last week in our episode about BB creams, the product that was made, the original BB cream was made in the 60s for a dermatologist patients who were doing injections and plastic surgery.
Right.
It was for women doing that in the 60s, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, it is kind of just interesting, like this reaction to it when none of what's happening is new at all.
Yes, the cosmetic industry was literally built on the idea of looksmaxxing. The global cosmetic industry generates over $500 billion every single year. And historically, women have been looksmaxxing since way before the term was invented. Like, there was Victorian waist training, like corsets, lead-based face powder. Women were squeezing lemon juice directly into their eyeballs to get like a nice watery look.
Yeah, it was like mercury maxing.
Mercury maxing. Yeah. Opium maxing. Like we can name them all.
We go on and on.
But women's employment, their marriage prospects, and just their general social acceptance are often directly tied to how attractive you are. That was how it was back then. And honestly, that's how it is now.
Yeah.
And so the underlying theme of the cosmetic industry has historically been, you aren't hot enough, but this product can fix that.
Yeah.
The term looksmaxxing is new, and maybe the pressure for straight men to adhere to beauty standards is new, but the tale really is as old as time for women.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Get in line.
Seriously. I think that overall, Clavicular and other young men like him are just a symptom of the actual problem.
Yeah.
Because, like I mentioned in the 60 Minutes interview, every single one of the young men said the same thing, that improving their appearance through looksmaxxing improves their confidence. So it's clear that looksmaxxing is just the symptom of the larger problem, which is that it's the pressure that society is putting on us to look our best. And like Clavicular said, I'm like not trying to give him so much credit in this episode, but it's weird because he also is extremely, like he's clearly able to identify what the problem is. Just his methods of going about it are wrong.
Yeah.
Because instead of trying to change society, he's just saying like, I'm just going to ride the wave and this is how it is and nothing needs to change. So I'm just going to become as attractive as I can in this society, which I don't think is the right approach.
No.
And I also think a lot of the other things he does are egregious. He's crazy. I'm not trying to give him credit, but I think he is able to identify that this actually is an issue.
Yeah.
You know, we can scoff at the people that are injecting peptides or the ones that are withering away on GLP-1s, but we also have to start talking about why we got here and why society has never been able to advance past prioritizing physical appearance.
Yeah. Yeah. That is fascinating. We've been willing to just do a lot of crazy, questionable things in the name of beauty.
Yeah.
And I think that is like, to your whole point, a lot of the issue here is that we've been doing these kind of things for a long time. And it's not, I don't know. I don't think we should be doing it at all.
Yeah.
But it is that now these straight men are doing it, that it becomes like more sensationalized.
Yes. And that's why at the beginning of the episode, I actually said that I think looksmaxxing could be a good thing for society because I think I don't have a solution. And it's also hard because I don't want to sit here and pretend like being attractive isn't important, especially because we're part of an industry that profits off of that idea. And so I think it'd be disingenuous to be like, personality is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
You shouldn't care about the way you look. I care about the way I look.
Yeah.
I've looksmaxxed my whole life. I went on Accutane. I dyed my hair. Like I got contacts.
We're also both sitting here full faces of makeup with 3 cameras pointing at us. So
exactly. Like we're going to continue looksmaxxing.
Yeah.
But I think it's just being able to identify it as a problem, I think is the first step towards maybe figuring out how we can change it.
Yeah. Let's safety max though while we're doing it.
Please.
Let's no DIY jaw smashing. Please.
Oh my gosh. No bone smashing. Also, another thing that's interesting too is I feel like I don't know. It kind of felt like in the 2010s and maybe early 2020s, we were sort of moving away from like the heroin chic aesthetic and body positivity was becoming more common. We had like the natural makeup look. And so natural was sort of starting to trend a little bit more and we were becoming more accepting. It kind of feels like now with Ozempic, all of that progress has just been wiped away. And now we're sort of back to like the heroin chic aesthetic. There are people who are injecting tanning supplements, like illegal tanning peptides now.
Oh, I just learned about tanning nasal sprays.
I haven't learned about those and I don't even know if I want to. Just kidding.
They're crazy, but it is like a hey, Owen.
Should we take his collar off?
Is this really how you want to be presented?
Owen heard nasal spray and he have some couth. You should be Looksmaxxing.
Yeah, please. What was I even going to say?
Tanning nasal sprays.
Oh, yeah, tanning nasal sprays.
He looks like the abominable snowman from the 1950s animated film.
Yeah, every once in a while.
He also looks a little human.
Yeah, I was going to say, every once in a while he does get tiny old man.
Yeah.
And it kind of freaks me out, especially when I can see the whites of his eyes. I'm like, ew.
He was just giving human in a poodle suit.
Yeah. Hey, small guy. Sometimes I'm worried that they trapped a tiny human in this fursuit.
It's possible. A loud human.
Yeah, that's why he's screaming so loud.
Scream maxes.
Yeah. So the tanning nasal sprays are just like a inhalant that is supposed to make you more tan. It's like a melanoma producing, not melanoma, crazy.
Could be.
It makes you produce more melanin, but you inject it through your nose. It's apparently very dangerous. We've talked about
do not snort things.
Yeah. Just in general, let's not.
Yeah.
Your olfactory system is way too delicate.
That olfactory cannot handle more melanin production. It doesn't have the equipment.
No.
These sorts of trends and the things I'm seeing on TikTok are scary. It's also I was looking up YouTube videos of Looksmaxxing and all of the top results have millions of views. It's clearly something that the young people really care about. And I don't know. I'm not necessarily against doing things like wearing makeup or if you want to get plastic surgery to look more confident or get fillers or Botox. That's your choice. It's up to you. But I do think, I don't know, I would love if there was some sort of solution to make us feel like we didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating presenting all this information and then just being well, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, that is frustrating. It is hard because I do agree we shouldn't put so much stock in the way that we look. But
we do.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also I don't think that men, straight or otherwise, should be shamed for investing in their appearance either.
Yes.
I just think there's a good way to go about doing that.
Yep. But it's also really frustrating that if a man goes in and says he wants plastic surgery, they're
That's
this
dangerous.
trend is so dangerous. And I just can't believe that.
Yeah.
It sort of feels like they're being handled with kid gloves a little bit. Whereas, we've mentioned, it's expected for women to take extreme measures to fix their appearance.
Yeah.
If society feels like they have things that need to be fixed.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
I don't know. Like I said, I think Looksmaxxing is obviously dangerous. If you're going to do it, please just do it in the way of skincare in the gym.
Yeah.
Please do not buy a hammer and smash your jaw. There are better ways.
Yeah. Your skincare should not involve Lowe's.
No.
At all.
No. Stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Looksmaxxing at its core isn't some insane phenomenon that everyone is pretending like it is. It's just a repackaged version of something that women have been doing since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
So now that we have a name for it and we've identified that it's an issue, hopefully we can take steps towards figuring out how to dismantle the system in the first place. But until then, keep your hammers out of your bathroom and invest in good skincare, go to the gym, eat healthy, and do not inject anything into your body that you shouldn't be.
Yeah. No, I could not agree more with any of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to stand 10 toes down.
Yeah. Let's just maybe do some critical think maxing.
I love that idea.
Maybe that's the note we can leave you on.
Yeah. And honestly, even just think maxing in general. If the critical part is too hard, let's just think max.
Think max. Do I want to put a hammer to my face? No. No. Also, yes, appearance matters. Obviously, people do care about the way that you look. Unfortunately, that is, one of the downfalls of society, and it has always been that way. But there are still, everybody has people in their lives that love them no matter what.
Yes.
And I think what we can do is just remember that there are places and spaces where we don't need to feel that pressure, and we can escape to those and try to, what's the word? We could troll max a little bit in those spaces.
I troll max 98% of the time. The only time I'm not troll maxing is on this podcast.
Yeah, same, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I literally showed up to a friend's house with makeup on the other day and they said, "Oh, you filmed today?"
Ooh.
Literally.
Call that maxing.
Literally, yeah. I was like, nope. Everyone started laughing.
Yeah, that's me too. Sometimes on a weekend, I'll throw on a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll throw in some mascara, which is crazy. Don't tell the 60 Minutes Australia guy.
Yeah. But you can switch between your looks maxing self and your personality maxing self. And they don't have to be present at the same time.
Yeah. I think we should also be confidence maxing and trying to build confidence in ways that don't revolve around your looks.
Yes.
And this feels, I don't know, these suggestions feel a little bit lame in comparison to me being like, there's a systemic problem that's been happening since the dawn of time. You should do more hobbies. But like, I really do think it can help if you diversify what you spend your time doing a little bit. And I think if you spend all of your time on TikTok and social media, that is going to cause you to feel like looksmaxxing is the most important thing. But I think if maybe you can take a step back from those things and try to build your self-esteem in other ways that don't involve the way that you look, it can be really helpful.
Yes, I agree. Also, with it being the month of June now, we're 2 weeks in, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. We're 2 weeks in.
We're 2 weeks in the month of June, and I obviously could not let this episode go by without saying Happy Pride to everybody.
Happy Pride.
I hope everybody this month is Pride maxing.
Oh, yeah. This is the month for it.
This is the month for it. But obviously, I don't know how to like really put it, but Pride can be a little bit weird, and I think I've already noticed a little bit of just the a little slop maxing.
Yeah.
With Pride.
There's been quite a decrease in Pride in general.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, let's start this out with saying I'm not the authority to speak on this. I'm just a girl. I like the spirit. I like the palatability of Pride with all the rainbows and fun and everything, but I think also it's important to remember what it all stands for, you know? And at the root of what Pride really is just adults being able to live their lives with other adults that they love. I think sometimes on both sides, we kind of get lost in I don't even know what to call it. Like
almost like the extremism of it all.
Yeah.
And just, like making it seem something salacious, but at its core, it's truly just people loving who they love.
Yeah. It's like people being able to visit their spouse in the hospital, you know, like it's one thing to go out and celebrate Pride. It's another thing to make sure that the people that we're celebrating are still able to continue to live their lives and be happy and love who they love. And I just want to remind everyone to vote Max as well.
Yep.
And make sure that you are doing what you can to make sure that the people that you love, that love a same-sex partner, are able to continue living their lives in peace and legally.
100%.
So, yeah. Let's kindness max.
This month we're ally maxing. This month and every month we're ally maxing. And we just wanted to, I guess, remind you guys that it's something that's important to us. It should be important to you. And
I think Pride should be for everybody. But as a way of like, we're proud that we have gotten to a place in society where people can exist.
100%. So happy Pride, everyone.
Happy Pride. Be nice to everybody. We always want this to be a safe place for everybody, this community.
Yep.
So we are inclusivity maxing over here always.
Yes.
And if we're ever out of line in that, please, please, please let us know, because we always want to be love first.
100%.
Love maxing. And just remember that there's way more to you than just the way that you look, because looks are fading, and though they do matter, it really at the end of the day is not everything.
Yeah. And you know what is hot and chic? Smart maxing.
Yeah.
Intelligence maxing. Learn maxing.
Yes. Also, like your physical face, your appearance, it's not as important as just the way that you present yourself. I do truly believe that the hottest people are the people that are the most confident in themselves. Even if they don't like wear makeup every day, if they're just like owning it and wearing their like bare face confidently, then it shows as being attractive still.
100%.
So,
yeah.
Confidence max. In the year of our Lord 2026.
It's time. We leave you with this message. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. Just kind of a review about what the hell Looksmaxxing is and kind of the impact on society and the small changes we can make to our daily lives, because small changes lead to big ones.
Yeah.
So
every day in every way we get a little better.
Exactly. 1% better every day.
Owen Spalding.
You
that
are
applies
not going to be
you.
bark maxing. Silence,
Hey.
Max.
Schmax. Schmaxing. Schmaxing.
Oh, he likes schmaxing.
You look schmaxing. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Obviously, you don't want the fun to stop here. You want to keep hanging out with us. And
you want to BXB Max.
You want to BXB Max? Yeah. Well, you can do so. We have a whole library of episodes, 37 after this one, that you can go catch up on. Mm-hmm. You can also go to our website, beautyxspeaker.com, to find show notes and sources for today's episode, as well as previous episodes.
You can find us on social media at
KDBX.
I was trying to think of like a maxing joke because I just told everyone to get off social media. So I'm like, how do I segue this into if you're going to spend time on social media, you might as well spend it with us.
You might as well.
Go to at BeautyXSpeaker on all of the social platforms. You can find our personal Instagrams. I'm Sadie BXB.
And I'm not BXB.
And we are going to go lunch max.
We are going to go lunch max.
I'm hungry.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us again for another episode, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.